Hello, welcome to the second page, and this page is a little different than the first one, but I'm using the exact same ideas. So I think sometimes it's a good thing just to keep on repeating yourself until you really, because that's how creativity is built, precept upon precept. It comes from practice, and the more you practice, the better. And I've found, I'm just priming my page here again with a credit card or an old gift card, and heavy gesso is what I love to use. It dries super quick. And then I'm also going to use this same palette than I did and spray my page quickly with a little bit of water in a small spray bottle, and then a very wet brush, and I'm just going to paint. You can even use a bigger brush than this one, and it's a pretty big brush, but you can use a bigger one than that. And I'm using a blue and then a Prussian type of blue and a green, and I'm just going to do a couple of paint splatters as well. But the brush strokes are light, minimalistic, quick. I think that's probably the most important thing that you have to remember is quick, and then just let it dry completely. So one thing that I've realized in my scrapbooking as well is the moment I do the same technique with 4 different pages or 4 ways or the same technique, I'm always amazed at how different they turn out, even though you do exactly the same thing, So okay, I'm just mixing in Prussian blue with a little bit of dark green. I really want a dark color. I'm using a stencil by Tim Holtz and a very dry brush. And I'm again painting through the stencil on wax paper. And then I'm going to print it again, exactly like I did with the previous page. For some reason, this one didn't print nicely. I think big patterns works the best, and simple patterns work better than these than intricate flowers and so on. Or maybe I just pressed too hard. I don't know why, but it didn't print out great. Maybe I just pressed it too hard. I should try it without pressing it too hard, but it just looked blobby to me. And then I decided just to do a little bit more on that side as well. I want to cover the whole bottom of that page. So it looks blobby, but in the end it worked well. And again, it's just about the process, right? So one shouldn't overthink it a little. So right off the bat there, I decided that my contrast is going to come from below this time. So I'm just painting with the existing paint on the paintbrush, just the bottom of it. And now I'm just going to let it dry. As much as I think I would allow it to dry, because as you know, I'm a little impatient here. I can be impatient. But I just want to finish this train of thought because I really want to tell you this. So I've discovered, even with the scrapbooking, is doing 4 pages, same technique, is really crucial for me, because what it does, it really embeds, it teaches you the technique, and the more you practice it, the better you become at it. If I didn't do this technique, for instance, with this stencil, I wouldn't have found out for myself that, maybe simple patterns is the best with this technique. And that's important, and this is how you learn. Never ever in your life is any creative endeavor for nothing. Okay, don't do what I'm doing now. You see, I'm cutting right through the black. I'm like, just a second I did it, I'm like, what the hell? What in the hecking heck, as Colin Kochner will say. If you don't follow him, go follow him on Instagram. His stories is hilarious. I couldn't believe that I cut right through the middle of a flower. I mean, anyone with 2 brain cells knows that rule of thirds. So even though it might be a third of the design, just off center would have been so much better. But anyway, I just forgive myself. But every time I see this page, that's what I think. I'm sorry. I probably should have just threw it away, right? This because I printed a few of the designs. I taught a real art journaling class, and I was printing extras for the class. Anyway, so just don't do it. If you cut your design, and I like to cut my designs because my books are getting really thick. One of these days, soon, very soon, I will do a walkthrough of my art journals on YouTube. So then you can see. Remember in the previous video I said to you how it feels like I'm doing exactly the same thing over and over again. But if I do a walk through my journals, you'll see how different they look. That not one or even two pages look the same. And it's exactly the same thing with making 4 pages. Even though I used the exact same color palette, I used the exact same idea with stenciling, even the illustrations look alike because it's the same little collection. Not 2 of the pages look the same. And you know what's cool? The other cool thing is, and I'm painting with green Liquitex ink there. I'm painting lightly because I don't think the paint is quite dry yet. So, but my aim is always to get as much paint on the page before I let it dry for a long period of time. But anyway, the cool thing about working in 4 books is that even though the pages are similar, they're in different books. So if I do a walkthrough of one book, you can't see that I did 4 pages the same way or the same idea, you know? So that's just a little... Okay, finally, it's only 6 minutes into this video and I'm completing my thought on the 4 pages. Okay, so all of that to say, you don't have to work in 4 books. You can just work in 1 book. That's fine. What I do want to say is if you feel that whatever you're doing is really a big disaster, you know what, work it until you find it more or less satisfactory. But even if you don't like it particularly, I would just say flip the page. You know, that is like a new little motto that I'm going to include in my, and I'm using a Prussian blue there and I'm adding a little bit of black. So this time I'm not afraid to work with black paint. The only thing, if you work with black paint, which is a little daring, right? I would say to you is just have a baby wipe ready if you want to take a little bit away. And I'm wetting my brush there so I can blend the black in and work with the black in contained places. Now that's the thing. I was saying something else. That's right. What I was saying is I'm going to include in my motto of frequent sayings, just flip the page. Just flip the page. You know what? Nothing that you do creatively goes to waste. It goes into, I call it like a treasure chest of creativity in your heart and in your mind. And it almost matures there. So it's never a waste of your time. So just flip the page and make a new one. Start over again. Start on a new page. You know, just go with it. So remember that. And honestly, you know, having taught actual art journaling workshops, 2 of them so far, and I have 2 more booked within the next week, I can honestly say this, remember it takes practice. You know, when I do my art journals, I try to make them as duplicatable as possible. And I think that's why I love using the illustrations, because when I give you the illustrations, you have exactly what I have. You know what I mean? It's not that I have an ability that you don't have, in the sense that I can paint these on my page, and someone on YouTube asked me, do I ever paint on my page? And yes, I probably can. But my whole aim is for you to make these pages with me, that I want you to copy exactly what I'm doing and make them with me. And if I were to paint all these illustrations on my page, not everyone has the ability to do that because it takes practice. So that's why I really try to make my pages as duplicatable as possible. And that's why I love giving illustrations or products with whatever I'm doing. The other thing is, I really, okay, so now I'm going to start doing my, what I call embroidering. And this already, to me, is like, I don't know how duplicatable this is, but it's just simple doodles. And it's also something that you have to practice. Okay, so this is what I want to say. Having taught art journaling classes in real life, I realized something. I realized that most people start out, they don't have any history or degree in art. They don't have any artistic experience even, and then I realized, what, it does take practice, and that's why you have to get a book and you have to start doing it. And even if it looks like a total disaster, keep at it. It will come together at some stage. But my advice to you is really to just duplicate what I'm doing. I mean, pause the video right now and try and do these doodles as close to as possible as the way I'm doing it. And I'm not saying it for any other reason as just that this is how you learn. This is how we learned in art school. We would have to repaint paintings from the Impressionists and from the Modernists, and we had assignments that we had to do those. You see, when you travel to Europe and you see all those art galleries, there are so many art students sitting there sketching from the masters, and not that I'm saying I'm a master, please, but I mean the thing is, I've just been an artist for the last 25 years, and so it looks so easy when I do it, and maybe it's not that easy when you try to do it. But take heart, my friend. Copy, and you will maybe copy 1 or 2 pages, and then you'll kick me out, say, good, I'm good to go, leave me alone. That's what I want. Okay, so gosh, I've been just talking, hey, so much, so philosophical, but anyway, so yeah, I'm trying to figure out how to make that thing that I did there, that horrible cut in the middle, a little less obvious. And again, I'm using my favorite paintbrush, and I have no idea where I found it. Probably it's one of those cheap ones, and I'm writing just words. Again, and it's probably the song that's playing at the moment while I'm painting and listening. So, you know what, the illustrations is a starting point, and it's a focal point. It gives, I don't want to say meaning, but I want to say substance to a page. I found that when I look at my earlier pages where I didn't use illustrations, I found them lacking something. And that's why I love them. But they're just a starting point. So again, if you want to paint onto them, you want to make them bigger, with doodles like I'm doing here, you can see how I'm using the illustration as the starting point for what goes out on it, then you absolutely can do it. You can even paint on it more. You can color over it. And that's what's nice about the Mod Podge, is that it protects it. So for instance, did you see how I just wiped that piece of that line of the flower, so that's very, very nice about the Mod Podge. I like to use the matte Mod Podge just because I'm not a big fan of shiny things, especially not on the illustrations itself. I like the shininess of the acrylic paints, but yeah. So now I'm just embroidering. I love how this is coming together. I do feel that it might need a little bit of red as well. I had a professor when I studied art, Philip Badenhorst was his name. He's still a very famous South African artist. Beautiful. He does amazing paintings. Very, very big influence in my painting and artistic. I want to use a fancy word now, but my artistic endeavors, let's put it that way. And he used to say that no painting is done without red. So I'm just using my paint dropper, and you can see I'm just drawing with the red. And now I'm just using a dry brush, and I'm just like roughly expanding a little bit with the red with markings. So nice rough markings, and I absolutely love those markings. So this is the page, and now you can see here a better quality photograph of it, and you can see how I did my journaling on the top part of it. I love how this page came together. I love the red splashes, and I love how you can actually see the watercolors on the illustrations. So it gives it looks like the illustration was not pasted on top of this art journal, that almost as if it was created on the art journal. So very, very happy with this page. I love seeing how art journal pages come together. It's really not every single art journal that I make, there's a point where I think, oh my God, this is a total disaster. And then when you just keep working on it, making little changes, not even big changes, and it comes together. So thank you so much for listening to me rambling. I hope you get something out of it. I'm just speaking like just as I go. I didn't write anything down or prepared anything. This is really just improv art journaling philosophy for you, courtesy of Wilna. Okay, but I'll see you in the next page. Bye bye.